students. So I'm going to share my slides so that we start. Please, can you see my slides?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Yes, Doc.
That's great. All right, so yesterday we looked at how to write a scientific paper. We looked at the structure, and in fact, the feedback I'm getting is quite positive. It means we learned something. I just received an email from one of you, which is really positive, and some of you also via my personal WhatsApp number have gotten some good feedback. But after the whole program, we will send you a Google form to give us a feedback. Anything you would want us to improve upon, we will do it so that this will be institutionalized as something we'll be doing maybe twice in a year. All right, so having looked at the structure of a scientific paper, today we'll be looking at how to prepare the paper or your manuscript for publication in a journal. So you have written your thesis, and I know publishing would be your goal. I don't know whether you write thesis and the goal is just to put it in the desk or to submit it to the university without publishing. There should be a goal for writing the thesis. You should be able to publish it. As I indicated yesterday, it is one thing doing scientific research, and it is another thing communicating it to the right audience. You need to publish it, let people see what you have done. So your goal is not only to be published, but also to be widely read and cited in your field. That is why you will see a lot of scientists on LinkedIn and other social media. They are telling people about the number of citations they've gotten. Every scientist gets excited when your works are cited by credible sources. It means that you are relevant in the scientific community. So for you to get your work read and cited, you must improve readability of your work. You should be able to communicate easily to people so that when they are reading your work, it is very easy for them. So let me just put it on slideshow here, full screen mode. Yes, so effective communication. How do you communicate effectively? Your writing should be simple. According to Albert Einstein, he said, if you can't explain something simply, it means you didn't understand it well. So whatever you write, your reader should be able to understand you. Every sentence you write in your paper or your manuscript, readers should be able to understand you. You only write to express, not to impress, ladies and gentlemen. Your writing should not be to impress your audience or your readers, but to express yourself scientifically. So please, when you are writing a manuscript, consider your audience. Most of the people that will be reading your works will not be from your field. They will not be from the area of expertise that you have garnered. They may be from other areas, but your work should be easily comprehensible by them. So I always tell anybody I give this kind of lecture to or workshop to follow the KISS method of writing. SS. What does it mean? Keep it simple short. So your writing should be simple and short. It should be understood by everyone. So take note of this. Whatever writing you are going to do, keep it simple and short. So your sentences should be very short. When you are writing scientific papers and your sentences are too long, they become too boring and people will not want to go further to read. I taught you how to do the writing by using signposting. Yesterday we saw that. I gave you examples of signposting. You don't unleash all your ideas in one sentence, precept upon precept. One idea sentence. That is how you should do it. So effective communication, always ask yourself, what is the red thread? I don't know how many of you are, seamstresses and, tailors. Maybe you can sew. I don't know. Or you have parents who can sew. They have a needle and then they put the thread into the eye of the needle. And then they always gauge a point. Please. They always have a point they gauge all the time. When they want to sew, the needle points at a particular place. So what then is the red thread in scientific research? Red thread here, I use it to refer to a text that has a context where the reader of your work can read the whole text without losing focus or losing the thread. The thread here refers to the train of thought, the idea you are bringing. What point are you arriving at? Yes, I start reading your work and I have a point, what you are unleashing. It should continue that way. Then you are unfolding yourself. I shouldn't get to a point where you are now jumbling things and I lose the train of thought. The moment I lose what you are talking about, it means you are doing copy-paste. You are bringing things, jumbling things together. So the text from beginning to end has to have a context. And the context here is a flow. There should be a flow of your thoughts. So for you to be able to keep the thread, keep these checkpoints in mind. We will look at that. The first is, before you start to write, identify your purpose and the main topic. We've looked at that yesterday. And then keep to the topic when writing. Don't fall out onto too many side tracks. I call them detours. Things that will, let you deviate from the objective of the work. Don't let anything let you deviate from the objective of your work. Keep on. You should be focused. All the sentences and paragraphs should be connected with the aim and the purpose of the text. So when you are writing your manuscript, make sure every sentence you write, reread it, connect it with your title and see whether there is some linkage. If there is no linkage, delete it. Every sentence you write in your manuscript should have something to do with the aim, the title, the purpose of the work. Now, how do you improve readability? It is writing which has a logical flow of ideas and is what? Cohesive. Your writing should be cohesive or coherent. Every sentence should run into the other. Let me give you a typical example. You are writing something about food or the importance of food. Then you say, food is vital for the human body. Full stop. Your next sentence, you say, examples of food are kenke, banku. I'm using Ghanaian foods. I don't know a lot of Indian foods. Okay. So you mention examples of food. Full stop. After your first sentence that you said, food is vital for the human body. Yes, this is a very good sentence that follows the first sentence. But in my opinion, this sentence has a problem. Anybody here who can tell me why the sentence has a problem? What should have followed before this one? If you have an idea, you can open your microphone and talk. The first sentence was that food is vital for the human body. Then the next sentence, you said examples of food are fufu, banku, and whatnot. So Isaac Frimpong Dako, you can open your microphone and talk. Yes, you can open your microphone and talk.
Hello, Doc. I think the next sentence should be how food is vital for the body. How?
Very good. This is very good. Then you are catching it. So you said food is vital for the human body. Vital for the human body, full stop. So the next sentence should be telling us what is in food that is making it vital for the human body. But if you now skip it and go straight to tell us examples or types of food, then there is no logical flow. There is no coherence. That is where the reviewers will be reading your paper and they get bored. They see that you are not making sense and your paper will be rejected. So that is how it should be. This means it holds together well because there are links between sentences and paragraphs. So the kind of writing that you do, which is cohesive, is always a unified one, and it has an easy flow. People will be able to follow because it uses language effectively to maintain a focus and to keep the reader on track. So you have to use short sentences. Limit your sentences to 10 to 15 words. Each sentence in your manuscript, please look at it again. It should be between 10 to 15 words. One idea per sentence. Don't lump up a lot of ideas in one sentence using a lot of conjunctions like and all that. Another way to improve readability is to use active voice. Simple, direct, and easier to read. When you use an active voice, it's very simple and direct. You are straight to the point, and it makes it very simple. It's straightforward. So in most scientific journals, we are always encouraged to use the active voice over the passive voice. Let's see examples. So active voice, vitamin A increases the risk of hair loss. Passive voice, the risk of hair loss is increased by vitamin A. You see that thing? You must always bring the causative first before the effect. That is active voice. Vitamin A, causative, increases the risk of hair loss. Effect, hair loss. But when you say hair loss, effect before causative, it becomes passive. That is not to say you can't use passive voice. You can use it also in your writing, but the active voice is the best to use if you want to write an effective manuscript. Now let's see another example. Volatile organic compounds, VOCs, emitted from industries and vehicle exhaust can induce a series of environmental problems, including photochemical smoke, broken ozonosphere, and environmental pollution. You see, this is direct. The causative is there first. Volatile organic compounds can induce. Then you are bringing the effects at the end. But now in the passive, you say a series of environmental problems, effects coming, including photochemical smoke, broken ozonosphere, and environmental pollution can be induced by volatile organic compounds emitted from industries and vehicle exhaust. So you see, now you understand the difference between active and passive voice. When you're writing a manuscript, the best kind of voice to use is the active voice. It speaks a lot of volumes. When people read your work, they already know what is causing what. But when you bring the problems first, I am interested in knowing the causative thing, and I have to go all the way to the end of the sentence to get what causes it, then it becomes a bit, laborious or cumbersome. So, but you should aim to make the language of your article as reader-friendly as possible. So that is why I said it is also acceptable to use the passive voice when it is required. You can use it when it is required. There are certain instances you may have to use the passive voice. For example, when you are describing your results or discussing your results, you can say this occurred as a result of this. All right. That is a form of passive voice. So if you read results and discussion section in papers, sometimes you'll be seeing the passive voice. But when you are reading, the introduction and other preliminary sides, you will see a lot of active voice playing, in the manuscript. So now let's look at the sentence structure. Which sentence better suggests that you will get a raise? I'm giving you the examples. Which of the sentences better suggests that you will get a raise? The first sentence, you deserve a raise, but the budget is tight. Then the second sentence, the budget is tight, but you deserve a raise. Now, looking at these two sentences, which of them better suggests that you will get a raise? The answer is already highlighted in green, the correct green. Number 2, the budget is tight, but you will get a raise. The stress point is you deserve a raise. So readers focus at the end of the sentence to determine what is important. That is what the readers are always looking at. So there is something we call the stress point. So in the sentence structure, the stress point should also be, featured towards the end of the sentence. That is how you structure sentences. So when you do that, it motivates the reader to want to check the next sentence, because the first sentence ended with the stress point. Then I want to get more about the stress point. You will be building on the stress point in the beginning of the next sentence. Then the readers will continue to enjoy your work. So let's see. There's another way to make your work readable: logical flow of ideas. The stress position also introduces the topic of the next sentence. So we have what we call topic position, then stress position. So let's look at that example. The budget is tight, but you deserve a raise. So the topic position is the budget, but the stress position is you deserve a raise, which is the end. Then you begin with another topic position in the next sentence. Your salary will increase at the beginning of when? Next year. It ends with another stress position. So look at it that way. Stress position in each sentence should not begin at the initial parts of the sentence. Stress position should end at the end of the sentence. Then the beginning of the sentence should be having the topic position. So the topic position is what introduces the idea of each sentence. Then the stress position is what makes it more relevant or important. So if you have this cogitation, stress position, topic position, you know how to arrange them, I tell you, your writing will be very good. People will understand what you are writing, and they will enjoy reading your paper. So let's look at logical flow of ideas in detail again. So the sentence should have ideas connected to each other. Idea 1 connected to idea 2, connected to idea 3, connected to idea 4. So that is how the topics should be linked. Each sentence, one idea. Now let's see an example. Titanium oxide surface modification of the scaffold considerably improved its catalytic frequency. The increased efficiency was prominent early in the reaction, but decreased over time. The lack of long-term effects of titanium oxide surface modification was likely due to the reaction being conducted in an aqueous environment. Evaluating additional solvents to improve the catalytic efficiency over time is currently being investigated. You see how the ideas are linked. You have topic position, which is the beginning one in yellow. Then you have the stress position at the end in red. So let's look at the first sentence. Titanium surface modification of the scaffold considerably improve its catalytic efficiency. Catalytic efficiency, stress position. Now, the next topic sentence or topic position should be qualifying the previous stress position. Catalytic efficiency. Then you begin. What about the catalytic efficiency? So you say the increased efficiency was caused by what? Or what happens? Or you say something about that. That is how you do it repeatedly. What you end with, you begin with it in the next sentence, saying something more about it. Then the next thing, what you ended with, the next sentence should be qualifying it again. So in that way, you are giving some kind of suspense to your readers. Then they will be interested in following up your paper. But if you don't write your manuscript this way and you submit it to a journal, outrightly it may be rejected. Reviewers will struggle to read your paper. Now let's look at the second. The increased efficiency was prominent early in the reaction, but decreased over time. Now, if it decreased over time, meaning over a long period of time, so we are saying the lack of long-term effects of titanium oxide surface modification was likely due to the reaction being conducted in an aqueous environment. So aqueous environment is like liquid environment. It's like a solvent kind of thing playing there. So evaluating additional solvents to improve the catalytic efficiency over time is currently being investigated. So you see, this is more like a problem in your manuscript you are stating. It makes it interesting. Now let's look at another one. Logical flow within your manuscript. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer mortality for men and women. Despite smoking prevention and cessation programs and advances in early detection, the 5-year survival rate for lung cancer is only 16% with current therapies. Although lung cancer incidence rates have increased in the United States, more lung cancer is now diagnosed when considered together in former and never smokers than in current smokers. Thus, if all of the national anti-smoking campaign goals are met, lung cancer will remain a major public health problem for decades. New ways to treat or prevent lung cancer are therefore needed. You see, there is a topic sentence in the beginning, lung cancer. Then you support it with the effect of it. I mean, or what happens, what induces it, smoking and all that. Then you end with a stress. All right. Look at another one. One potential therapeutic target for lung cancer is the WNT signaling pathway. The canonical WNT signaling pathway in mammals consists of a family of secreted lip-modified WNT protein ligands that bind to a family of 7 pairs transmembrane and frizzled receptors as reviewed. So you are continuing your sentence, or you have a topic sentence and then you stress it also at the end. So that is how it is done. So once you now know how the sentences should be structured, coherence, there should be logical flow, linking each idea per sentence, then what are the next steps? Before you start, there are 6 steps. Think about why you want to publish your work. Sometimes the works you are even trying to publish are not publishable. There are some works, if you send to me, I'll just look at it and I know this work is not publishable. Anywhere you send it, it won't be accepted except a predatory or a cloned journal. So you must assess your own work. If you don't know, send to experts in that area to guide you. Whether the data you have, the kind of work you have, it is publishable. Now decide what type of the manuscript to write. Should it be a review? Should it be original research? Should it be maybe discussion? Should it be a comment? There are several types of papers or manuscripts you can write for publication as papers. Now, when you know the type of manuscript you want to write, the next is to choose the target journal. Which journal do you think the work should go to? Now, most of the journals, their names will even tell you the scope of the journals. For example, Journal of African Earth Sciences. Straight away, I know that anything that has to do with earth science or geology in Africa can be published there. But you go and bring something not related to earth science, all right? And then you send it to that journal. You want it to be accepted. It will be rejected outrightly. Dex rejection. That is one of the reasons for Dex rejection. Out of scope. You must check the scope of the journals. Go to their websites, check the scopes. Then you see whether it is good. There is also a way, I will look at that later. You can go to maybe Journal Finder for each of the publishing houses. For me, predominantly, I publish in Elsevier and Springer Nature because I believe in their quality. They are, the publishing houses that one can easily trust. They have defined ways of doing everything. So, for example, Elsevier Journal Suggester or Finder, you can Google it, then you go there, it will ask you about the abstract of your work. You have already written abstract of your manuscript, paste it there, then it will suggest possible journals you can publish your work in. Based on the abstract alone, it gives you possible journals with their impact factors, acceptance rate, and all that. Then you can just go to that journal, any of them that you want. You go to its website, read the guidelines, and then prepare your manuscript according to the guidelines. Then you submit before you realize it will be published. So pay attention to the journal requirements in the guide for authors. Each journal has guidelines for authors. So please follow them. If not, the manuscript will be rejected. Now also pay attention to the structure of the paper. All right? How the paper should be structured. Introduction, study area, geological settings. Then maybe you have materials and methods, results and discussion, conclusion. Don't jumble them or mix them. And under each of them, you can have sub-units or sections. I have seen some papers people write or manuscripts they write, and in the results section, everything, boom, no subsections. It's like paragraphs. You are just writing, but no subsections. You go to discussion section, boom, paragraphs, but no subsections. Each of these should have subsections. Methodology, plenty paragraphs under the title Methodology or Materials and Methods. You have used several methods. Why don't you break them into subsections? So the main section is materials and methods. Then the subsection number 1 is maybe field studies. Then you write what you did. Then the next one is laboratory analysis. You write which kind of laboratory analysis you did. Then the next one, data analysis. You write which kind of data analysis you did. Or statistical analysis, you write which kind of statistical analysis you did. That is how it should be done, the structure of the paper. Then you must also follow publication ethics to avoid violations. All right? Some of you, if you are, those of you who are into biological sciences, you sometimes have to deal with human subjects. So you have to get ethical approval before you go to interview or take samples from the human subjects. If you don't get that, but you do it and you publish the work, it has violated, the ethics of publication. So every university or institute has publication ethics that you have to follow. You have to go to the university, research, department and collect the publication ethics form and fill and let them know that your work will not be violating any, ethics. All right. So before you start, what do you have to do? Qualities of the publishable findings. So if you have your findings, and let's say they are publishable, or they are not publishable, what do you do? What do you do? Or how do you know whether your work is publishable? The first thing is that it is new. Nobody has published such findings before. If what you have done is new, no one has published that kind of data in that study area before, then it is publishable. But assuming in the same area someone has done the same thing, then it becomes problematic. All right? It becomes problematic. Now, the next thing is, your findings, are they useful? The findings should be important. They should have practical applicability. Or they should be able to solve an important problem in the field that you are working in. Yesterday, I was using an example of sustainable mining practices in Udaipur, Rajasthan state in India. If whatever I got from my research cannot solve mining issues in Udaipur, then my results I've gotten or my findings cannot be published. They are not publishable. All right. Like our Dean of Research indicated, Professor Prasun Chakrabarti. In fact, he is the best scientist in the university. He has a lot of papers, H-index of 47. In fact, he's one of the senior guys we all look up to. There is a journal called Negative Findings. This journal accepts anything. Even when your findings are negative, you can publish. They will accept. So such journals are the ones maybe you can send your works to. But if you think your work is useful, is solving a problem, you can actually, how do we call it, publish it and send it to a very good journal. Now, before you start, identify hot topics. Look for clues, unexplained findings, and controversies. All right, regarding that subject matter. You can go to several journals like the Nature journals, the Lancet, and all that, Springer Nature, Elsevier, published journals. Read the literature, including related fields, not just only your area, but fields also related to what you are doing. And then please attend international conferences and meetings. Please, all of us that have joined, and I believe that we are all interested in research. That's why we joined this workshop. I want to encourage you to keep joining international conferences and meetings. They help you a lot. They sharpen your skills, your oratory skills, your research skills. You get to understand how people also do things in the international world. But if you sit in your own comfort zone and you are not attending scientific meetings to sharpen your skills and network with people who have made it or are giants in your field, you will only be restricted to what you know. And we know that knowledge is not in the repository of one man. All right. When I was a postgraduate student, I attended more than 40 international conferences. And that is what has actually made me who I am today. Any conference I go, I speak with boldness. That is what I have done and have read in that field. I'm able to deliver to the understanding of the audience, and it obeys the scientific rules. And I end up getting a lot of, how do you call it, best paper awards. So please, if you are a postgraduate student, attend scientific meetings, network with scientists in your area. Now, you need to also organize your ideas. There are 4 key questions for your readers. Why did your study need to be done? That should be addressed in your introduction. So you remember yesterday I told you that the introduction of the paper, towards the end of it, the last paragraph should be talking about the problem and the relevance and novelty of the work. So introduction is where all the literature you've done and the importance of the work should be embedded in. What did you do? That is one of the things your readers will be looking at. What did you do? It is the methods. So it should be featured in the methods. And then what did you find? When your readers take your manuscript They will be looking at what you found. And that should be in the results. If I cannot find what you got using the methods in your results, then your manuscript is flawed. There are some of us who make the mistake, we put results and methods. No, methods are just descriptions of what you did, but don't add results to the methods. Now, how will your study advance the field? That is the discussion. You want to bring the scientific merit of your work or the scientific rigor of your work in the manuscript, then it should be in the discussion. This is where every interpretation you make, you back it with scientific evidence. For example, if I stated that the groundwater concentration, the arsenic concentration in groundwater is 10 milligram per liter, that is just a result. But in my discussion, I will have to interpret what that 10 milligram per liter means. Then I can interpret and say, this suggests that the water is contaminated with respect to, arsenic in the groundwater. Because maybe if you check the guideline value for the World Health Organization and it is above that, you quote the World Health Organization's value and give the reference and say it exceeds the guideline value for the World Health Organization, into brackets, maybe WHO 2022. You see, there is scientific evidence for whatever you are providing. But in the results section, I will only give the concentration. I won't say anything. This is what I have gotten. In the discussion, I will be giving details why that result was gotten, what accounted to it, what does it mean, what is the effect of it. That is discussion. This is what will advance the field that you are dealing with. So let's look at the introduction. Why does your study need to be done? In your manuscript, your introduction should cover all this. So the aims, or I would just say the objectives. So it starts with background information, worldwide relevance. You see, yesterday I told you start broad and end narrow. So it's the funnel approach or funnel system that you are using. Worldwide relevance, that's why when you read manuscripts in the introduction, they start talking about the importance of the work from a global perspective. Then you narrow it down to a specialized perspective, maybe to national perspective, then to what is currently known, up-to-date international literature. I told you cite more recent works, especially your introduction should contain the most recent citations, 2025, 2024, 2023, at least the past 5 years. Then the last paragraph, ladies and gentlemen, should cover the problem you are solving. Yesterday, we looked at how to craft problem statement. So your last paragraph should be talking about the problem. Then the relevance of the work, contribution to the field, and then you bring the specific aims or objectives of the work in the end. That is how the introduction should be. Then your manuscript is good. Now in the methods, what did you do? What or who was used? So in your methods, samples of participants, materials, where you purchase them, all right? You must indicate all of them in the methods section. If not, your manuscript will not be accepted. Methodology will be flawed. How it was done, the general methods, the specific techniques. If you put some control mechanisms, quality control, quality assurance, quality control, QA, QCs, you need to input all of them in the methods. How it was analyzed. This is where data analytics come into play. Quantification methods you used. Then statistical tests you performed. Maybe multivariate statistical analysis, like cluster analysis, factor analysis, principal component analysis, all these things, correlation analysis and all that. You need to explain all of them in this section. Then the results, what did you find? This is where, as I told you, there should be logical presentation in thematic headings, initial observation, characterization, application. That is how the flow of your results should be. Initial observation. So in your first method, you should have had maybe field studies. That is initial observation. Then laboratory analysis, characterization, because laboratory analysis will give you what you are looking for. Then the interpretation thereof, that is application. All right, the statistical, analysis you would have done, data analysis application. So example, fabricate new membrane for water treatment. Evaluate physical and chemical properties, for example, under different temperatures and pressures. Third one, efficacy in removing particulate contamination. That is how the flow of your results could be. Then, another thing, there should be subsections. I already said it. Each subsection corresponds to one figure. Or you can have multiple figures, but each figure should fall under a paragraph that you have said something. Don't lump everything in one paragraph and then you just put plenty figures after all. So you should put it in a very nice way. Then factual description, what you found, not what it means. Then the discussion, how your study contributes to the field, summary of findings, the relevance. Here you are looking at similarities. You will be comparing your work with previous studies. That is another aspect of discussion, comparative analysis. You compare what you have done with the findings of previous researches. Then you can come out with similarities and differences. If there were some negative results, you were expecting something, you didn't get what you wanted. So it's negative results. You present it there. Unexpected results, you present it. Then even the limitations, you can, add them in the discussion. Because if you didn't get something, it means something happened. You didn't do something. That is a limitation. Then you can conclude. The discussion aspect also has a way of concluding. So discussion simply deals with the implications of your findings. That's what discussion is all about. So let's look at discussion, strong conclusions, how you conclude a discussion. What do you want your readers to remember about your study? So in conclusion, polymeric nanoparticles could be used as a generic carrier of hydrophobic drugs for efficient delivery. Compared with drug administration alone, these nanoparticles mediated a higher and more rapid uptake of the encapsulated drug by nanoparticle cell contact mediated transfer. A contact-mediated mechanism of delivery into the cytosol could enable effective delivery of anti-cancer drugs directly to the intracellular molecular targets. Further understanding of this contact-based transfer mechanism will be important to exploit this novel delivery system for the administration of hydrophobic chemotherapeutic drugs to improve cancer therapy. This is a beautiful conclusion in the discussion. Having said everything, last paragraph within the discussion, you summarize everything with a future, study that could even be done to understand the work. It means that in that sense, there is a limitation you have put because you couldn't do that. That is how you can conclude a discussion. Look at another one. So let's look at the discussion aspect, the conclusion aspect, the key things you can get. The first sentence in conclusion, that actually summarizes everything. Then you have brought the key thing you found, a higher and more rapid uptake. That whole sentence, the second sentence there. Then the third sentence, a contact-mediated mechanism delivery into the system could enable, so implications. Then future directions, further understanding of this. So that is how the conclusion of your discussion should flow. It should have a conclusion, key finding, implications, and future directions. Now, linking your ideas, answer the 4 key questions for your reader. Why this study needs to be done, that is from introduction. Then you have current state of the field, problems in the field, objectives. Then you go to methodology, what you did. Then you go to results and figures, what you found. Then you go to summary of findings, how your study will advance the field and give the relevance of findings, implications of the field. This is discussion. So there is a linkage. Right from introduction to the conclusion or the discussion, there is a sequential flow of ideas. Logically, you must link your ideas throughout your manuscript. If not, there will be loss of the thread. I already talked about the thread. All right. First impression. Let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. The moment you submit the manuscript and it's full of errors, you have made a bad impression. So make sure the manuscript follows the regulated rules that we have or the guidelines. It is grammar error-free and all that. So make a very good impression before you submit your manuscript. If you can't make it good, at least it look good, ladies and gentlemen. If you cannot make it good, just make it look what? Good. I'm telling you, that is the best way of, doing your work. If you do it, you will impress how do you call it? Readers, the reviewers, the editors, and the work will never be rejected. It will surely go through. There won't be text reject. When the editor goes through it, he will just forward it straight to reviewers, and then it will be reviewed. Title. The title is the first impression of your paper. If you do not capture your title very well, it will take off interest of people. So make it very attractive, but also be very careful with overgeneralization. Some titles can be overgeneralized. So you say groundwater quality in assessment of groundwater quality in the Takwa Inswaye municipality. Meanwhile, you only took samples from Akum, those of you in Takwa in Ghana. You only took samples from Akum, but you are generalizing it to the whole of Takwa Inswaye municipality. Your title is flawed. The moment I look at your abstract and maybe your results and I see that you are only talking about Akum, one section of the municipality, and in your title you generalize it to the entire municipality, you have not made any good impression. That is overgeneralization. Then your keywords, it should be summary of your study. The summary of your study is the title. That is actually, what you do. Summary of study is the title. But your keywords are also very important. Another thing that makes your work to be rejected is that keywords are just taken directly from the title. No, your keywords should not be selected from the title. They should be devoid of the words in the title. Look at what you did. Things you can derive from what you did, but not just the title. Let's say you worked on groundwater quality in Rajasthan state. Then you say groundwater quality, Rajasthan state, India. Everything in the title is what you are subdividing or breaking down into keywords. So it's just like bringing back the title. In fact, study locations these days should not be part of keywords. The keywords are the facts, the things you exactly did, that someone can just browse about them and get to know how they are done. All right? So if you said groundwater quality in this, I can just say hydrogeochemistry as a keyword instead of bringing back groundwater quality. Because maybe the groundwater quality I was just limiting it to the chemical composition of the water. So hydrogeochemistry, it is perfect. Or groundwater chemistry as a keyword. But I will not go back and bring groundwater quality to the keywords. Now, abstract is also one of the things you can use to give first impression of your paper. It should be concise. So it's a summary of your paper. So the abstract, as I told you before, the first sentence is a background, why the study was done, the aim of the work. This is where you bring your objectives. Then the next sentence should be the methods, techniques, or analysis you use to achieve the objectives. Then the key findings, the results, the most important findings you got. It's not everything you can put in your abstract. You can't put all your results in the abstract. The most compelling ones are the ones you will put in your results. Then conclusion. The abstract can have a conclusion or implications, just 1 or 2 sentences, and it's okay. And most journals have limited number of words for abstracts. 150 words, 250 words, 300 words. Maximum I've seen is 500. So make sure you know the kind of journal you are submitting your work to, then you know the requirements of the abstract. then you do it accordingly. If not, even in the system, when you want to upload and the number of words are more than required, there will be a red, warning to you. So you have to reduce the number of words. So let's look at a typical example of an abstract. In the Tahi oil field in China, heavy oil is commonly lifted using the light oil blending technology. Background. However, due to the lack of light oil, the production of heavy oil has been seriously limited. Problem. Here, we aim to reduce light oil usage and maintain heavy oil production using a new compound technology of light oil blending and electric heating. This one aim with what? Method. We developed a pressure and temperature coupling model based on mass, momentum, and energy conversion method. The heating transfer parameters and pressure drop are calculated by using the Hassan, Kabir, and Hagedorn-Brown methods, respectively. This model also considers the effects of blending light and heavy oils, as well as heating the electric rods. It's still methods. Our calculations demonstrate that electric heating coupled with light oil blending is much more effective than either alone. Results. That's a key finding. In conclusion, our study shows that the amount of light oil use can be reduced by combining the electric heating technology. This is what? A conclusion. This novel method should improve heavy oil production in regions lacking light oil. Implications. Further research. So you see how a very good abstract should be written. The moment I take the abstract, I'll be able to subdivide it in the various thematic areas. Background, aim, method, and all that. So look at this. In the oil field, like I did. This is all background with a problem embedded in it. Methods and the aims. Here we aim to reduce. That is good. Then you bring your results. All right. Here, even some parts that I said they were what? Methods are also results. You look at it in detail, you realize it. We developed a pressure and temperature coupling model based on this. So what they found, they put it there. Then conclusions. In our conclusion, our study shows this. And that is it. So that is how a good abstract should be written. Now look at this. Why the study needs to be done. It's in the first sentence. What you did. Then what you found. How study contributes to the field. That is how an abstract should be written in a manuscript. Now, once you have all this, I told you this before. I'm just giving you a typical example. For example, Springer Journal Selector. It used to be in the system, but these days it's not there. But if you can still find it, either the Springer Journal Selector or how do you call it? Elsevier Journal Finder. It's a free tool that you use to find suitable journals for your manuscript. So the moment you go to that website, it will ask you to copy paste your article abstract, the abstract of your article there. Then when you put it there, then it asks you only journals with an impact factor. If you want journals with impact factors, it means they are indexed in Scopus. It's Scopus, from Scopus onwards, Science Citation Index expanded, Emerging Sources Citation Index expanded journals that begin having what? Impact factors. And so they are the ones that are credible. You can say they are very good journals. So you take that these are the ones you want. Or if you want journals with open access options, you add that, you take that as well. Then you now go find your target journal. Then bingo, a lot of journals will pop up. Then you will see their impact factors. For example, Acta Geophysica. Then you see impact factor 0.91, the frequency of publication or acceptor and all that. And then you see the model, whether it is both open access and then subscription mode. Then you will see that it is hybrid. When you see hybrid, it means open access. It means you have to pay a fee. And then once it is accepted, anyone can freely download it. They don't need to pay anything. So copyright belongs to you. But the moment you say you submit it as subscription, it means copyright belongs to the journal. That means they will lock it up. Only people who subscribe to it or institutions that subscribe to that journal can easily have it. If not, you have to pay before you download. So you can get the impact factors, the publishing frequency, and then whether it's open access or not. You will get all those information. The moment you use this tool, bingo, then you get your recommended journals. So now you can, if you get a recommended journal, you can just click on it and then you go and get the details of the journal. You see the aims and the scope of the journal, then the impact factor and everything. Has it even published some papers quite recently? And all that. Then you can now know that you can actually submit your work there. One of the secrets to publishing in journals is that, look, you must cite some papers in that journal. If you are submitting your manuscript to a journal and you never even cited even one paper from that journal, the likelihood of your paper being rejected and they giving you a flimsy excuse is 90%. That is one of the secrets. At least 5 to 10% of your citations should be papers from that journal, because the subject of your work mirrors the scope of that journal. It means that you have every right to cite papers, different papers published in that journal. So at least 5% of your citations should be from that particular journal. Then they will know that you actually value them, and that is how come your works will be accepted. But if you don't cite them at all and then you send your work there, it can easily be rejected. That is one of the secrets I'm telling you. So choose your journal before writing your manuscript. That is one of the things. The moment you know, how do you call it, the scope of your work, you know the title, everything, begin to choose the journal you want to send the work to, so that you can easily follow the author guidelines, the structure, because each one has a different structure, except it is in the same publishing house. All Springer Nature journals, they have a unique form, whether in one journal or the other, but once it's Springer Nature, they have the same style. Elsevier too, the same. Then you can review the aims and the scope. Then you have to look at the referencing style for each of the journals. But after evaluating the novelty and relevance of your findings, that is when you can now, how do you call it, submit the work. So once you do all this, you've gotten the appropriate journal, logically organize your manuscript according to the guidelines for authors. Then you've written your work very well. It is clear and concise. It doesn't have grammatical errors. You are ready to submit. Let's now see how you do it. Let me tell you, the journal editors are very busy. This is an editor. A lot of, those days, manuscripts were always written, by hand. And then you post. Then it goes to the editor. He will sit down to look at, this is what used to happen. And even in the same vein, now we are using electronic medium of submission. They go in bulk. The editor is sitting down with a lot of manuscripts to go through before sending them to reviewers. So please make your work neat. Give a very good first impression so that the editor will not text reject your work. So there is something you need to write in addition to the manuscript you have prepared according to the guidelines. We call it a cover letter. The cover letter should also give first impression to the journal editors. So in the cover letter, you must state clearly the significance and relevance of the study. So you must state that the work is suitable to be published by that journal. It meets the scope of that journal. If it is outside the scope of the journal, they will never accept it. In the cover letter, you should answer the question, is it interesting to the readers? Does it have clear and concise writing style? All right, all that should be covered. So let's see a very good cover letter, an impressive cover letter, how it should be. So you should have checked on the journal website to know the name of the editor-in-chief. If even you don't know his name, you can say, dear editor-in-chief, or you say, dear Dr. Lipman. You've known the editor's name from the website. Then you come. Please find enclosed our manuscript entitled, quotation marks, and in bold, evaluation of the Glasgow prognostic score in patients undergoing curative resection for breast cancer liver metastasis, unquote, which we would like to submit for publication as what? Which type of paper? Original article in the breast cancer research treatment. That's the name of the journal. So article type is important. Manuscript title, editor's name. Then you come. you need to now describe what you did. So sometimes, I mean, you can extract this from your abstract. All right. Most of the papers I have submitted, I just take my abstract, or sometimes I reshape it a little bit and put it there in this part. You see that your abstract has all these. It gives the background to the research, what was done and what was found, and then you now conclude with a major, sentence, how interesting it is to the journal readers. Aha. Then you can recommend and or exclude reviewers. So in the same, cover letter, you need to state the people you want them to send the work to review. But please be very careful. Don't send to people that you know very well, you have been doing things with. I mean, it's unethical. There shouldn't be any conflict of interest. Then you must also state in the abstract that you have followed the ethics of writing. The paper does not violate any ethical whatever. You state all that there, and that you have not submitted it to any journal before submitting it to that journal. That is part of the publication ethics. Look, some of you will say, but these people, they delay a lot. Why don't I submit to this journal and send the same thing to another journal and wait? Which one comes and is favorable, I then pay attention to that one and withdraw it from the other. Please, if you do that, it is unethical. Because all the journals want you to state clearly that you have never submitted it to any journal. So be very, very careful with that. If you are caught, they can blacklist you. So what are the publication ethics? The work is original and unpublished. So in your cover letter, you must state that this work is original. It has never been published before. Not submitted to other journals. That all the authors agree on the paper or the manuscript you have prepared and agree that you, the corresponding author, submit it to the journal. So the cover letter will be written by the corresponding author. Corresponding author is the one through which the journal will be communicating about the progress of the manuscript. Now, you should also state in the cover letter that there are no conflicts of interest. Cover letter, you can also state the source of funding of the research. Where did you get money to do the research? Then the contributions of the individual authors. What did they do? In the cover letter, you can add that. But this one, sometimes there is a separate section. Each journal has a way of doing it, where you will say, Emmanuel Danova Sumkari, he did this conceptualization, visualization, supervision, investigation, and all that. Then you take the next person and give the details of what the person did. So now, once you do all this, your paper, your manuscript is okay. You can then submit your manuscript to the journal for publication. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first session. There is another session that I will look at, the one that talks about the predatory journals, how to identify predatory journals. We've looked at how to prepare the manuscript. So let me briefly share that slide also with you, present it. Is there some few slides, I think 20 or 30 something slides. Then we can have a free flow, ask our questions, we discuss together. So let me try to open that one. Because this was a special request even made by our Vice Chancellor and the Dean in charge of research. And it's very important. You can prepare a very good manuscript by going and send it to a fake journal and it's published and you are in trouble. Later on, the journal or what you have published is being retracted, or that journal will be closed or shut down, then you'll be in trouble. So let me continue. So this presentation is on identifying potentially predatory and cloned journals. All right. So why do we discuss predatory publishing? It is very important because you may be misled. They will take your money for nothing. And then you've done quality work. You've wasted your time. So there are a lot of papers published on some of these things. Readers beware. Predatory journals are infiltrating citation databases. All right. This was published in International Journal of Public Health. You can go and read it. Then another one, inclusion of predatory journals in Scopus is inflating scholars' metrics and advancing careers. When you look at predatory journals, they easily get, when you send a manuscript, it easily gets accepted. So you will see a particular scientist, he has 1,000 papers, but most of them, more than 90% are predatory. And then that particular scientist is priding that he's a very good scientist, but they are in predatory journals. Look, write quality works, send to quality journals. It doesn't matter the quantity. The quality is what will speak for you. Some of us, that is what we have done, and that is what is speaking for us. I don't care the number of papers I have. I take my time, I do quality work, send it to quality journal, wait for the review period, and as I am sending the manuscript, I keep on working on others. Then you will see the papers coming every month or every 2 months. You see papers coming in their numbers. So this is what you need to look at. Sometimes it becomes accepted like a dowry or bride price. Okay, you are in love with your woman. Your parents already knew you before. So you see that when you send the bride price, that very moment of fast they accept the bride price. So that is how predatory journals behave. They easily accept your work. It's like corruption. If you want to bribe somebody, fast, within a second, the person takes it, and he's motivated to do whatever you want. That is how predatory journals behave, ragging. So predatory journals are well known for accepting articles very quickly with little or no peer review. I'm telling you. So it is very disgusting. Any journal that you send your work to, within 1 week, it is accepted. And you don't even see reviewer comments. They say your work was well written. Please withdraw it. Tell them you are not interested again. They will keep begging you the moment you even say you want to withdraw it. If there was some amount of money to pay, they will begin to give you 100% waiver because they want the work. Now, these are papers published about them. Citation contamination, references to predatory journals in the legitimate scientific literature. Are predatory journals undermining the credibility of science? It's true. They are undermining the credibility of science. Anyone can just do anything. Look, you can just conjure results and send to a predatory journal is accepted. If one just try it or take an AI link or whatever, and tell it to prepare this kind of manuscript for you, it gives you all the things you just submit. Within 1 week, 2 weeks, it is accepted. It's a predatory journal. Now, what are the features of predatory journals? Or what can you see in predatory journals and you know they are predatory in nature? Number one, no peer review, no regulation or oversight. So with predatory journals, most of them don't do peer review at all. You will not see reviewer comments. Reviewer comments are the critiques from experts in that subject matter. Predatory journals won't give you anything. They will just say your paper was well written, accepted, pay open access fee or whatever. Then you have to go and pay $500, $50, $100, $1,000. That is it. They can lead to contamination or pollution of accumulated knowledge because the scientific rigor of your work is not there. Nobody is there to critique your work. So you are there polluting scientists or polluting people about phenomena or about problems in society. You come and claim that there is pollution in Uday. Meanwhile, you publish it in a predatory journal. It is criminal. In fact, the state can take you on. It weakens science and can also hamper human progress. Look, some of us are suffering to do quality work and others are just doing anything. You see that it weakens science. It doesn't even motivate you, the good scientists, to do your work. Because whatever you do, even the predatory journals, people accept them in some universities for promotion and all that, or even for you to get your PhD or your master's and go. Then it also weakens and discredits the open access movement Because there are good journals that have open access so that you can easily have your work downloaded by everyone and you can get a lot of citations. But the predatory journals have come in because all of them are open access, and they will sometimes even lessen the fee, then you are motivated to send your work. So it weakens and discredits open access. These are some of the papers also. Prevalence of potentially predatory publishing is scopus on the country level. Now, how much is the damage? Unfortunately, all right, because of the population in India, it is a market leader hosting about 27.1% of publishers that produce more than one potentially predatory journal. This is a research carried by Shen and Borch in 2015. You know, India has the largest population in the world now. All right, it's like Nigeria that also has the largest population in Africa. So in terms of predatory journals predominance in Africa, it's Nigeria. So let us be very watchful. I will show you how to scrutinize and know whether a journal is predatory or not. So is there no scrutiny at all? That's the question. Journal assess bogus paper requesting removal from mailing list. So this is a paper, I mean, you can read this and see what is happening. Look at this paper. Somebody just crafted something bullshit, excuse me to use that word, but it got accepted because it's a predatory journal. Get me off your fucking mailing list. He wrote it in the form of a manuscript and sent to the journal. Quickly they accepted and published it. They didn't even care about the content. And these predatory journals will keep sending you emails, and they will be entering your spam sometimes and sometimes in your inbox. They will bring you journals or suggest journals for you to publish in which are not even related to what you are doing. So you see that paper, the person even produced a very nice graph. Get me off your fucking mailing list. And the journal thought, oh, this is a very good diagram. Because there is no peer review, then the person says, figure one, get me off your fucking mailing list. And it is accepted and published in that journal. You see, it is very scary and interesting. So let's look at the pitfalls to look out for. The first one is we have what we call predatory journals. These are the ones that are just stepping on the interests of people and making money by publishing fake works. Or they themselves are already fake, then they take your good work and publish it. They are predatory. Then we have cloned journals, the ones that will just do, like the name of the journal is like the name of the original journal we know. Maybe Journal of African Earth Sciences. Then they will go and create a name that resembles it. Journal of Earth Sciences in Africa. You see, it is almost the same. You may be confused, then you send it to Journal of Earth Sciences in Africa. And you think it is Journal of Africa Earth Sciences you sent it. Those are the clone journals. Others are hijacked journals. They just hijack the original ones in the system. We will look at them. Look at some of the features for predatory journals. For them, they accept all submitted papers. And what they do is that they pretend to have reviewed the work. They have not reviewed. Whatever you submit, it is accepted. That is why that paper I showed you was rejected. Look at the title, very funny. And the diagram that doesn't look anything, any good way, they accepted it. Then they have no or minimal quality control over the published material. That is one of the features of predatory journals. There is no quality control, so they don't check the inside, what is there. Now, they also promise a short or ultra short review cycle, ranging from a few days to a few weeks. That is one of the features of predatory journals. When you see a journal that reviews works within few days, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, please run away from that journal. It's not good. The good journal, let me tell you, you can take years to have your work published. In fact, one of my papers, I will never forget, it took 2 solid years. 2018, we submitted the work. It got accepted in 2020. A review on water quality in the Upper East region of Ghana, in Sustainable Water Resources Management, Experimental Nature Journal. Very good impact factor, strong journal. Look, they will keep giving you comments. At a point, some of my co-authors were saying, let's withdraw it. I said, no, I don't fight a battle and retreat. I must get to the last point of it. And finally, the work got accepted. And today, that work has a lot of citations. Now, another thing is that they claim to be open access, but they do not feature in some of these open access indexes. Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ, you don't find them there. Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, you don't find them there. Committee on Publication Ethics, you don't find them there. But they claim that they are indexed in the open access indices. It is a lie. Now, one of the things they do is that they will, because we call them predatory, they will go and predate, look for scientists that are prominent in their area and put their details in the editorial board, but it's not true. They never sought their consent, or they will even conjure editors on their own and put their profiles there. They can do anything. These are all predatory journals. They send unsolicited bulk spam emails, always inviting submissions, call for papers. You will check. Some of the calls are not even related to what you are doing. And usually when you see their scope, it's very broad. As for that journal, you can publish anything in engineering. That is not a good journal. You can publish anything in science. Science is very broad. So when you see the good journals, they have a scope. I told you, Journal of African Earth Sciences. It is purely earth sciences, but in Africa. Journal of South American Earth Sciences. It is very clear. But the good, the fake journals, they will say Global Journal of Engineering. I will show you some of the names. They are also made up, or they are what? Suspicious mailing addresses. They contain suspicious mailing addresses. The emails that they use in communicating with you, they are not original, or they are not good. They are suspicious. That's why they will keep entering into your spam. Check. Sometimes they use Gmail, Hotmail, and all that to contact you. It's not an organizational email. They will email you with unusual respect and care. You are not a professor, but they will say, dear esteemed Professor Doctor, this. Then you get so excited. Hey, they are calling me professor. Then you just quickly submit your manuscript there. They have lured you. You have played into their game. They usually have many typos and errors, a lot of typographical errors. That is one of the things. A lot of typographical errors. So please take note of some of these things. They are flashy, but unprofessional in terms of the website. You see the website very flashy, but it's unprofessional. And it usually targets authors, but not readers. They don't care about the readers, what they can get to download. They are just trying to solicit for authors. Then they will always promise to publish fast at affordable rates. And one of the things they do is they overemphasize on having ISSN. They will keep on emphasizing on that one is not important. We want DOI, the digital object identifier. All right? Most of them don't have DOI. Check very well. All the fake journals or predatory journals, they don't have DOI. That does not mean any journal that has a DOI is original. There are also fake journals that have DOI. But take note, this is one of the things you can just count off. The moment you see a journal, it's only having ISSN and no DOI, which will start with https www.10.something.org and with the manuscript number, then that journal is fake. There are no clear author instructions. What you have to do, guidelines for author, how to prepare the manuscript. You will just prepare the manuscript anyhow and send to them, and they accept it. That journal is fake. Now, the journal name, the email, the website resembles well-known journals. It's a predatory journal. Then sometimes they are inflated or misleading metrics. They will tell you that this journal is indexed in Google Scholar, indexed in Science Citation, Index Expanded, or whatever, emerging sources citation in Scopus. But when you go and check Scopus, you don't find it there. So when you take a journal, go to the abstracting and indexing. Look for it. If you see that it is Scopus, it is this, okay, it's good. But now, go to those indices, their websites, Scopus, and type the name of that journal. If you don't see that journal there, they have deceived you. Don't send it there. It is fake. So major indexing services. These are the genuine indexing services. Web of Science, all right? Scopus, PubMed Central, or PubMed or Medline. We have Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ. Washington and Lee Law journal rankings. And if you are in India, we have what we call UGC Care, all right? Now, I think they are discontinuing it, but they have given a criteria for us, we scientists in India, how we can publish, or the journals that will be accepted for promotion and all that. The UGC means University Grant Commission. Now, Google Scholar, is it one of them? So they say it is indexed in Google Scholar. I mean, that is not so a big index or something that you should be priding with. The ones that you should be looking for is Web of Science, Scopus, and all that. All right. So most universities, for you to get your work accepted for promotion or for you to graduate from your PhD, you should have published in a Scopus Index journal or Web of Science, which contains emerging sources citation index, science citation index, science citation index expanded. So being included in any of these does not automatically make a journal authentic. That is one of the things you have to know as well. The things they do, let's look at them. Look, they use the address of a random housing complex as a conference office. They will say that, oh, this journal is organizing a conference, this. Then they give you the location of the conference, and it is somebody's complex they will go and use. I don't know whether you've gotten emails like this. Dear Dr. This, we have contacted you by email area since this. We want you to be a distinguished speaker on so and so conference. They will give the details that they will waive. They will give you two days free accommodation. But when you go and check the registration, you will do $1,000 or $2,000. They are still going to get back what they want. Let's look at them. They claim to have read your article, but do not even know what you have written. They will go and take one of your articles you've written before and send you an email and quote that article. Dear Dr. Sebastian, hope this email finds you well. Our editorial team has noticed your recent study on predatory nursing journals, a case study of otter prevalence and characteristics, and must appreciate for your article, which is very interesting. We feel that our readers will be inspired upon reading your article. Can you submit a mini review or short commentary on the same article for our upcoming issue, volume 6, issue 4? Kindly let us know your opinion regarding this. Regards, editorial team. Look at this. The moment you see such an email from a journal, run away. Don't be excited. All right. Some of my students have contacted me that a work we submitted to a conference, we presented in a conference. A journal contacted them and quoted the title of that work. Let's publish what and what. I said, no, that is predatory. Good journals don't look for you. You look for them. All right. That is one of the things we need to know. Look at this. If they invite you to contribute a paper in a journal that is not even related to your expertise. Dear Professor, greetings. We are excited to announce the upcoming issue of Anatomy, Physiology, and Biochemistry International Journal, and we'll be honored to feature your research in this edition. Look, I just took this from my mailbox. I took it from there. Am I an anatomist? You all know what I do. I am not into biology. I'm not into biochemistry. But look at what they want me to submit. I don't do that. And you see, they will quote ISSN, but no DOI and all that. This tells you that it is what? Fake. Anatomy, Physiology, and Biochemistry International Journal. The name alone. Look at another one. This one even has my name. Call for paper, Intelligent Agriculture Invitation to publish a paper with a full waiver. Look at this. So you'll be motivated. Dear Dr. Sunkari Emmanuel Danova, the way they even arrange my name is a question mark. Hope you enjoy your day. Thank you for taking a few minutes to read this email. Look at the name of the journal, Intelligent Agriculture. Am I an agriculturalist? What have I published before in agriculture? They will tell you that we are striving to apply for Scopus, emerging sources, citation, and other databases. You are not even there, but you want me to contribute. I will not. All right. So this is not my area. I will not. Another one, they'll invite you to contribute a paper in a journal unrelated to your expertise. This is another one. Dear Dr. E.D. Sunkari, my name is Dorothy Zhu, and I am honored to introduce you to our journal, Research on World Agricultural Economy. Am I an agricultural economist? No. Then they will tell you our journal is indexed in Emerging Sources Citation Index, which is in the Web of Science, Scopus, all this. You go and check, it's a lie. Aha. Now, they will write to you several times to contribute a paper to their journal. You will not be responding because most of the times it goes to your spam. They will keep writing to you, reminding you, look at this. Dear Sunkari Emmanuel Danuba, we've made several attempts to contact you, but have been unable to reach you. We hope this final outreach will be fruitful. Your article will be a valuable asset to our publication by March 15, 2025. We hope you will consider contributing an article. Look at this, Journal of Biomedical Research and Environmental Sciences. Well, environmental sciences have something to do with me, but biomedical research, no. I don't contribute to journals that are like multi-oriented and they don't have DOI, only ISSN. That's why I told you they will be stressing on ISSN. They don't have DOI. And then the way they are writing to you repeatedly, that shows that it is fake. Look, they will give you an impact factor that is outrageous. They even gave a, look, it is even confusing. Now look, in the email, they said marine chemistry. But then in the end of the email, they said Journal of Biomedical Research and Environmental Sciences. You don't even know which is which. Then they give you impact factor 6.47, which is outrageous. And it is indexed in Index Copernicus. So this is what is happening. This is the Predatory journal and this is me. They say, we request you to submit a paper to a very highly rated journal. And then you will say, so you are not going to ask for publication charges, right? So sometimes you will ask them. Then they will keep quiet because that is actually what they want. They won't come straight to tell you about the monetary aspect. They will deceive you the moment you send your work, then they will, when it is accepted, they tell you to pay the money. If you don't pay, trouble. You are going to have a banter with them. So when you keep asking them about article charges, they will keep mute. They won't answer. Then you say, you are not going to ask for publication charges, right? They are quiet. So they will request an invited article and then ask for money to publish it. That is what they usually do. Now, they give reminders of a fast approaching deadline all the time. So impact journals, publishing in Scopus and NAS rating journals. They will describe the journal. It is indexed in all the Scopus and UGC care. Important date to be remembered. Last day, 24th June 2021. Manuscripts must be submitted to an email. That is a problem. Any journal that accepts manuscripts via email is fake. The correct journals have a website with specified guidelines, with a template that you can even use, or how to arrange your or structure your manuscript. Then you upload it to the portal. Then it goes to the editor. Then you can track the progress of it. That is not to say the cloned or the predatory journals, some don't have that. Some have that, but you will still see that the features are not the same with the original ones. So look at some of the names. They will have unprofessional and odd naming and odd descriptions. Global Journal of Human Social Science. It includes everything: history, sociology, geography, geology, languages. Global Journal of Human Social Sciences A, Human Social Sciences B. Then they divide it into subsections. Set journals, please be very careful with them. Then look at this: International Journal of Asian Economic Light. Then they give you impact factor 7.31. Then look at ISSN. Then they have a DOI, but the name is too unprofessional. Then what about a good journal? The good journals have something for their readers, not just calling for authors. Look, they will give you most read. You click on it, you see the most read articles, most cited articles since the journal was incepted, trending on Almetric, the one that is popular on social media, all that. Then it is coordinated. You have the impact factor, the indexing and metrics, you can get all that. That is the feature you can get in good journals. So some predatory journals can be easily identified. Look at this, the website, you see, it's like a group of journals. They won't give you the exact name of the journal unless you go, then you select the journal under that publisher. I mean, it is a problem. So to publish research papers in international journals with NAS rated values, today is the last date for Manuscript, so they will just be giving such adverts. No. Even with this deadline they have given, let me tell you, when the deadline expires and you still contact them, they will accept. That is one of the features that you can see. So look at another journal. Some news can be deceiving. You will see they arrange it nicely. They have specified aim, mission, vision. But look at even the name of the journal, Ideal Journal of Psychology and Theology. So be careful. International Journal of Law and Legal Jurisprudence Studies. So some questionable journals can look like they're really good ones, the legitimate ones. They will arrange that, look, editorial board, instruction to author, journal, call for papers, featured articles, and contact, and all that. But they may not be what? Genuine. So an almost professional looking website, that is what some of them have. And they have published a call for papers in respectable law portals. They will put that. Then there is submit online button, and it asks you to email the manuscript and give different email IDs in different pages. That is one of the things. Then the communication they are having with you, there is language error. Even on the website, they can't spell some words well. More than one editors have published articles in the same issue. Go and check the journal. One editor all throughout, he is publishing every issue. He has papers or a paper. Look, be very, very careful. That is not to say that some of the good journals don't do that, because let me tell you, some of the editors are also unprofessional and unethical, because they are also predating on scientists. Then when you want to submit work, they will tell you to add them before the work can be accepted. Then they will quickly add themselves. And then you see them having a lot of papers. Show the editorial process. There is no formatting. Even capitalization of article titles are not uniform. You check that. Publishing company has a non-existing website. All right. Facebook page suggests they run other journals too. Not only one journal, several journals. It is a no-go area. Then the publisher's postal address belongs to a one-person company, which is under process of striking off. Please be careful. Meanwhile, the director now runs a fruit juice and beverages company. He has used your money to go and open a business. So checking if a journal or a publisher is predatory. Look, you can go to some of these websites, bills list. It will give you the list of things. These are checklists. If you are okay, then you can say that this journal is good. Then K-signed list is also there. You see the checklist. Then the Cabell's predatory reports, think, check, submit. This actually is very good. It's a tool useful for identifying journals to submit to. So just go to this website, thinkchecksubmit.org. Go there. You will see the checklist and things you need to look out for before. Once you've identified a journal and you don't know whether it's predatory, go here and check before. Now, academic publishing has many gray areas. I'm telling you, there are certain things that we actually ascribe to predatory publishers, but let me tell you, even the most famous and the mainstream journals also have those features. So we have some journals like, some publishing houses like MDPI, Hindawi, Frontiers, Field Journals, and all that. Let me tell you, even Elsevier is becoming the new MDPI. I'm not trying to discredit MDPI, but they have a lot of journals, and they are always writing to you to contribute. Then sometimes they're even waiving, but if you see the article chart is too much. Now, some Elsevier new journals are taking the same trend. So please be very careful. I have even checked some Elsevier journals that they will say it is indexed in Scopus, but you go to Scopus, you don't see it there. Be very, very, very careful. Now, let's look at the cloned or hijacked journals. Hijacking the name or credentials or website of a legitimate publication is what we call cloning or hijacking of a journal. Now, they use fraudulent websites, taking over expired websites of journals. So, and then they will create a website for only print-only journals. All right? They don't even send hard copies. Most of these journals, you can request for hard copy. And then they can also send you, how do you call it, online copy. Then in India, as I told you, we had what we call UGC Care website, which lists many clone journals. If you go to UGC website, you will see a lot of clone journals. So my colleague Indian scientists that are there, we can be guided by this. Now let's look at the art of hijacking or cloning. This is a hijacked journal, and this is the authentic journal. First, look at the authentic journal, Iheringia Seria Botanica. Now look at this, Iheringia Seria Botanica. Look carefully. Botanica here is capital B, but botanical here is small b in the original. So you can see that there is a clear difference. There is a clear difference in them. But they exactly look the same. If you are not careful, you'll be mistaken. Now, there is also misleading similar name. Look at this, Interciacia. Then they will say Interciacia Association. So you may be trying to send to this original, then you go and chance this, then you think that is it, then you make a mistake. Aha. Then look at this. La Revue Internationale de Psychologie Sociale. Then they will go and translate it into English, International Review of Social Psychology. It's the same journal. They have cloned it. So be very, very, very careful. So some useful places for discussion. If you want to learn a lot about this and not be misled, go to ResearchGate. It can be a good place for you to have a lot of discussions, including journals and publishing. There are chats in ResearchGate. You see discussions there. Then academia.stackexchange.com is another place for helpful discussions. You can go there and you see how scientists will educate you more about this. Then on Facebook, check out the group Reviewer 2 must be stopped. There is a Facebook group, Reviewer 2 must be stopped. It's a very good group to follow. You will see a whole lot of things they are talking about reviewers and journals. Then there are a lot of YouTube channels you can also follow to guide you. So thank you so much. I think I am done with my presentation. So it is time for us to take questions. All right, so let me mute you all. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. Yes, so we have John Pagilico.
Yes, hello.
Yes, John.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. My question is about, selecting or choosing the journal. So you mentioned that, for instance, we have the Elsevier journal finder, where you then you can paste your abstract in. It will suggest something to you. So my problem is, how do I have the abstract before I even prepare the article? Because usually I know that the scope of the article, or the instructions for the author would guide you on how to write and the things to follow. So how do you handle it?
That is a very good question, because I remember I said somewhere that sometimes you need to get the journal even before you prepare the manuscript. So one of the things you can do is you have a title. There's place for the abstract. If you even put the title there, it can give you a suggestion. It will give you suggestions of journals based on the title of the abstract. All right. So the title you are giving may not even be the final title, but it should be a title that actually now you've conducted the research and you know the results you found. You know what you've done. You can coin something that looks like a title, or even something short like an abstract that features the aim of the work and the key findings you've gotten, and then you put it there. It will still give you very good journals related to what you are doing. Is that okay?
Okay, yes, thank you.
All right, so Clement.
Okay, and Prof, just to say that, but it's like you have opened so that I mean our eyes to a certain level that you can't even imagine. It's so much. I still struggling to get a PhD. I keep receiving Professor Naba, Professor this, that, the emails. Some inviting me to be a reviewer, editor, a lot. In fact, I was having some drafts about 2 papers. I was just at the verge of submitting to some of these journal. And you've just opened my eyes, and just to say it's well appreciated. For now, I've learned a lot that I don't even know how to ask a question for now. Maybe let me leave it for now. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that it helps. So Vikas Kumar.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. It was a splendid, very well seminar that you gave, and your depth of knowledge is commendable. Professor, I would like to ask that if I want to do an authentic work of my own, then how can I proceed? After collecting the data from the field, I want to write by my own. I can say that it will be a paper of mine, self-author paper?
Okay, so you've collected your data or your samples, you did analysis or wherever you have your data. You want to write your own paper. Yes, you can write it based on, once you have set out an objective, you have an aim, you have objective, you know what you want to write. Now, one thing you can do to guide you in writing is download similar papers. Even that topic you are dealing with, I know someone may have worked on it in another area or quite similar to what you've done. Then you can see how they did it. Then you put it in your own way. Some of their sentences that you even like, you can copy them and paraphrase and cite them. Then when you do it, it becomes original. It is yours. Once you've paid credence, you've cited them in the text, it becomes yours. But when you get to the results section, you are presenting the findings of your original research. You are no longer looking at anybody's work. But maybe you see how they presented their results. You also present your results in a similar way. Then you discuss the results related to what you've done. Then, maybe you need input from other people. Then some scientists can also help you also write some parts and all that. Then they are part of the paper. That's where you have co-authors. But if you want to be alone, you think you can do everything alone. And in fact, for me, I see it not to be feasible. That's why I have never had a single authored paper, a co-authored paper. I don't even like it. I cannot do everything alone. The analysis may have been done by someone. Someone may have helped me to produce something. It is difficult to write paper alone, to do everything alone. Yes, someone may have contributed something. So you can write your own paper, original paper. It should be related to the data that you have. But also look for a guide, a paper that is related to what you are doing. Then you will see how they did it. Then you can also be doing it in that manner, but discussing your personal data. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you so much, Professor.
All right. So Ibrahim, I know it's in the morning, 12 a.m. thereabout, in Australia. Bema.
Yeah, Prof. Thank you very much. It's currently 11:21 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a wonderful presentation. Honestly speaking, I have really enjoyed the session and I have learned a lot. And thanks very much to the organizers and SPLC for such a wonderful program. I have a couple of questions, but because I do not want to bore the discussion. I will ask few, then later, if there's an opportunity, I will ask the remaining. First of all, I would want to seek your advice on preference. Sometimes we are tempted to publish our preprint online, and in a situation where the paper is rejected, it's a little bit difficult to handle such an issue. So I would love for you to comment on that, and whether we should avoid it or the best way to go about that. And the second question is, during the first presentation, you had talked about how an introduction should be structured. And I have seen some, very good papers where at the end of the introduction, they kind of give an overview of what was done in the paper. So ideally, you end the introduction with the objective. But then at the end of the objective, you find papers that are trying to give an overview of what they did. So an example, data was collected from this side, and statistical analysis was done, and then the data was modeled, something like a quick overview of the methodology in the introduction. And I have seen this in a very good journal. So I would want you to quickly comment on that. And the last one was also, I think, also related to the abstract. So you had talked about the use of keywords. And I wanted to find out, can you use a keyword that does not appear in any? Can you use a keyword? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Can you use a keyword that does not appear anywhere in the document?
Can you use the keywords
that does not appear anywhere in the document, right? So yeah, you write the complete paper, but you have a keyword that can describe the work but does not appear in the manuscript. Is that allowed? Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I will leave the remaining for later.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, so let me start from the last. Yes, so it is acceptable. You can have a keyword that describes the work that was done or summarizes the work that was done, but it is not succinctly mentioned within the abstract. But once it has something to do with what you have done, it is not out of place. In fact, that is even one of the best things to do. The keywords should not just be words exactly in the abstract, but there should be words that describe what you have done. That even makes your work unique. If not, people will say your keywords were just copied, from your abstract. So that is something that is good. You can craft keywords not exactly in the abstract, but once they have something to do with the abstract, they are good. Now, the next thing is the introduction thing you talked about. You have introduction, and towards the end of the introduction, they begin to tell you what was done, like describing the methods or something like that. Yes, it is acceptable. Even in my yesterday's presentation, maybe when I got to introduction, I didn't hit on it. The introduction is a skeleton of the rest of the paper. Especially the last part of the introduction, when you give the aim, the objective, the significance, you may have to give an overview of what is expected in the paper. So that is how come in very good journals, you will see that towards the end of the introduction, they begin to tell you what was done or the methods that were used, statistical analysis. Even if you saw the paper I discussed yesterday from my own work in contaminant hydrology, Journal of Contaminant Hydrology in the Peru Basin. In the introduction, we talked about the methods that we used. And we even spelled out that these methods are like unique. I mean, that even brings out the novelty of the work. We have used integrated methods involving ionic ratio plots and all that to decipher groundwater salinization in the Peru Basin in Ghana. So it is accepted. The introduction, we should see it as the skeleton of the scientific paper. The moment I go through your introduction, I should know what I am expected to see in the following sections of the manuscript. So it's accepted. Now, even before I go to your next question, there is something I want to state clearly. It is in one of the abstracts I showed you, or in some of them, but it's not so good. You should avoid personal pronouns when you are writing scientific papers. We did this. We analyzed. Our results show that no, it is not right. Previously, people were doing it. I mean, it was okay. And you can find this in very good journals. Be careful. Whatever is not cited in the work is coming from you. All that you cite comes from people. And we know you are the one doing the work. So why must you bring out yourself again to tell us you did this? Try to hide yourself. Say this was done. All right? Quantization was performed. Don't say I performed quantization. Our results show that the results of the study show that it's the study you are dealing with, not yourself. I mean, sometimes when you even bring those personal pronouns, it sounds so arrogant. Maybe you don't even have a lot of works. You are not a noted scientist, but you are trying to show yourself. Please hide yourself, but let the content of the manuscript speak. Let the manuscript speak. Don't let yourself be seen. This is just something I'm adding. You didn't ask that, but I just tried to add that. Now you asked something about preprint online, sharing it online, and sometimes it is the paper is rejected, then the preprint is still there. You can't remove it. I try to avoid that, my brother. It's a very, I mean, it's a thing that can prevent your manuscript from being accepted in other places. Because the moment the print is online and it is rejected by that journal you sent it, when you send it to another journal, check plagiarism, it will point to the preprint. 100% or 90-something%. Then you have trouble. Some of the journals, when you send to them, they don't want to accept it again. Even though preprint is accepted, you can put it online. And it's the same thing. But some journals will reject your work. It will never go through. So what is even the essence of the preprint? I don't see much value to the preprint. It's not a journal. They put it on Research Square. And Research Square is not a journal. So until your work is published, don't put it anywhere. When you are submitting the manuscript, don't accept to put it in a preprint. Except you know your work will surely be published in that journal. If not, these complications will arise and you will be having trouble for yourself. I think I've encountered it once. One of my works, we put it in preprint. Now the work got rejected by a journal. They suggested other journal to submit to. Now when we submitted to that journal, they are pointing to the preprint work, 90-something% plagiarism. I had to end up abandoning the entire work. I couldn't publish it. I just only sent it to a conference, and then let's say I had a conference paper out of it, but not a journal paper. So I think I've addressed all your questions.
Yeah, well.
Yes. So we go to Victor Kunzinya.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. I must say that this presentation has removed some of the dust in our eyes, and it has really shown us the way to research. But the question I want to ask is, you talk about me using the peace principle to enhance clarity and then make sure our work is not, too, how do I put it, like make sure the sentences are clear and then readable. But I want to find out if there's a standard font size and then font types that we should use when we are conducting research, which we have in mind that we want to publish it later. Like I've seen that the slides we presented, the font and everything was in order. So I want to know if the journals have the specifics on the paper size, the font size, and all those things, whether they are indicated in those journals or there's a standard way we should follow when we want to publish a research paper.
All right. So thank you so much for your question. Quickly, when you check every journal, like I told you, they have guidelines. So each of the journal will tell you that, okay, the manuscript should be written in Times New Roman font size 12 or 10. All right. Each journal tells you what to do, or they can say use Arial. Okay. So it depends on the journal. Each of the journals will give you the specifications. So just go to the journal website, go to guidelines for authors. Then as you check, you will see that there, all of them will state it. Now, one thing is, me sometimes, because I know where I always send my works, to Elsevier and Springer, I know their format. So I always do my thing according. I don't even check the guidelines, but because I'm used to it. So all my manuscripts are right. I use Times New Roman, font size 12 for all my manuscripts. I don't use any other font type or font size. Times New Roman, font size 12. That is the officially accepted one you can use for anything. So official fonts you can use are Times New Roman and Arial. They are the best that you can use for official works. So even most of the journals, even if they don't spell it out clearly, you can use Times New Roman or you can use Arial, and particularly font size 12. Some of them will, some people use font size 10, but when you use size 10, it is very small. So the reviewers will be squeezing. They have to zoom in before they can see the writing. But the moment you use font size 12, it is clear for everyone to read. So I think in that regard, stick to font size what? 12 Times New Roman. All right. Yes. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, it's answered, Prof. Thank you.
So let's check. I'll take question from Vincent. Maybe after this, the next 3 questions, then we can end. Vincent Mochia.
Yeah, Doug, thank you very much. That was a really insightful, informative presentation. It's great and very worthwhile of being here. Okay, so Doug, what I want to ask is, I'm speaking from UMAT as a research assistant at UMAT, and at my department, which is the minerals engineering, most of the time I go to the library and I find some of their project reports. I mean, their thesis reports. And these theses are very incredible, well written. But when you say them, they are unpublished reports, unpublished project reports. So I want to ask, if there is any motivation, or how can these project reports be transferred into a published papers? If there is any motivation you can give, or any way maybe these papers can be transferred into a published paper.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, so as I said before, when you conduct any research, maybe thesis you've written, you yourself will see the depth of the work you've done, the scientific rigor, the novelty of the work. Once you see that what you've written is very good and it has a novelty, is applicable in society, you can transform it into a manuscript and submit to a journal. Then you look for a journal related to that work, check the guidelines, prepare it accordingly, and submit. Just like I've already shown you everything, how to prepare the manuscript, how to check for the journal, how to be careful not to send to predatory journal. So your thesis is something you can transform into a manuscript by following the guidelines of the journal. Then you publish it. But if you check the content of the work you've done and it's not any strong thing scientifically, then don't bother yourself to transform it into a thesis, a manuscript. You may suffer publishing it. So one of the things you can do is attend a conference with it and present. You have a conference paper or abstract in the conference proceeding. That's one of the things I do. If I do research that I know it cannot be published or it doesn't have good scientific rigor, I attend a conference with it. Then I can even get views of scientists. One of the reasons you go for conferences is to get critique from noted scientists or experts in the field. Then you can improve the world. So your works that are sitting in the library, project reports and all that, check if it is good. You transform it into a manuscript. We've already seen how a manuscript should be written. So the manuscript will not be like how your thesis was. But there are certain things that you can copy verbatim from your thesis and just put. In fact, if you wrote your thesis introduction very well, following what I've shown you, it won't be difficult. One of the secrets to my success is even that when I started my master's, my supervisor told me my master's thesis should be written like a scientific paper. So I followed all these things. So when it was time to publish the paper, I just copied, boom, verbatim, and followed the guidelines of the journal we were to publish, Gondwana Research. Then I didn't suffer. It's just a few things I had to rearrange or put in the format of the journal. So I think I've answered your question. Kalaivani. Kalaivani K. If you are not there, then John.
Okay, thank you for another opportunity since I already asked the question. So I just wanted to follow up regarding the preprint. There have been cases where people have reported that they submitted their paper manuscripts to some journals, and then in few months' time, they saw similar papers published in the same journal, and so they give that as a, as the main reason for first submitting to a preprint, as a preprint, so that no one can like claim ownership of it. So what do you say about that reason?
That one too is even dicey. Yes, you can submit it to preprint and it is there, and it may be difficult for no one to do it. But I'm telling you, people are very smart. The idea alone is something. Maybe I never thought of the idea, what you did, but I saw it as a preprint. It's not published. I will quickly go and do something like that, but I'm not copying your work. But I've stolen the idea. Maybe you did it in Rwanda. I'm sure you are in Rwanda now. Then I am in India. I steal the idea that you have done in Rwanda and you put it in preprint. Quickly, I do it related to the Indian parlance and do it in the best way, but not copying you directly. And when I send it to a journal, and even when I put in, turn it in and authenticate, it will show that it is plagiarized. So you will see that I may end up publishing the idea before you, but it is based in India, not in Rwanda. I've stolen your knowledge. So that is why I always, discourage people from what? Sending their works to preprint. People will steal the idea. And there are a lot of softwares now you can use to rewrite works, and it will not even be like what the original is. All right.
Thank you.
Kalaivani, are you still there? All right. If Kalaivani is not there, so I think we have two hands now. Okay, Kalaivani, you want to talk?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Nice section.
All right. Then, thank you so
Can
much.
Can I
Yes,
ask my
Ibrahim.
question?
Yes, Ibrahim.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, Prof. So I have a paper with a Springer journal. And unfortunately, it's a top journal, but I do not know why it's happening this way. So I submitted this paper somewhere in October. And as part of the journal, you will have to appoint an editor. So I did that. They have a list of editors. So you have to go through the journal and then choose an editor. And I did that, had to recommend potential reviewers. I did that also. And when we submitted the paper in October, up till today, the status is still editor invited. And we wrote to the editor last month to kind of follow up on the paper, but then we got no response. And the status still remain editor invited, you know? So for 3 months now. So in situations like this, what is the best way to handle it? Especially if the decision we want to take is to publish the paper in a different journal.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think one of the things you can do is write to them to withdraw the submission. If it has delayed for long, check the journal website. You see the editor-in-chief, associate editor, and maybe executive editor. Most of the executive editors are even the ones who are doing most of the editorial works, like official, whatever, administrative works. Add all of them and indicate that you want to withdraw your manuscript with manuscript ID, this title, because of so and so reason. Then you can wait for, I mean, within a week, I'm sure you will get a response, because it's not one person you wrote to and the person will just sit and delay with it. Before you realize, they will even expedite action, and then the manuscript will go to with editor or be under review. So sometimes the editors, some of them are just sitting on the manuscript for no reason, because they think they are very busy. So that is one of the things. Withdraw. Write for withdrawal. Then wait for a week. You will get a response. Then you can take it to another journal.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Nanaya or Bing.
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
So, on behalf of you, your secret mentees, we are proud of you and take thumbs up for this wonderful presentation. So, straight to the point, Prof.
Can you speak a little bit louder? I can't hear you so well.
I'm saying that I want to comment on this forum. It's been very insightful. You've really given us good insight about the skills in publications and the do's and the we are so grateful. But I want to ask the question of, Prof, genuinely, Ghana has its unique challenges for which, as researchers, we certainly want to research or kind of do systematic inquiries about how some of these are changing over time with the trends. But how come we are always releasing such information to journals of Europe, world, or to the far north?
Your voice is getting fainted. I'm struggling to hear you.
Prof, let me change my answer. I'll come in with you. So you can go ahead.
Okay. So is there any other question? Yes, Frederick.
Thank you, Doc, for this wonderful presentation. Doc, I want to find out if your work requires you publish a paper before you graduate, and as you talked about the delays in publication, what will you do? Because you did state that it sometimes takes like 2 years before your work is being published. So does it mean that you have to sit and wait till 2 years before you can graduate? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the whole thing behoves on you, the writer. So you have to look for journals that are good, accepted by your institution, and the publication rate is faster or duration is faster, then you submit to them. That is the thing I can say. Because if you keep waiting for 2 years, you will be delayed. So you have every right to retract your work. If you submit it to a journal and it is delayed, you can retract it, withdraw it, and send it to another journal that you think it will be very fast, but make sure it's authentic, it is accepted by your institution. Aha. All right. So John, I think this would be the last question. before
Okay.
we, yes.
Thank you. This one is about the results section. I was writing my manuscript, and it was only towards the end that I read somewhere, and someone is suggesting that it should always be in past tense, which was surprising because I've never heard that until now. So what do you say about the language for presenting the results?
Okay. Yes. So the person said you should write your results in past tense.
Yes.
One thing is the research has already been conducted. You've
Yes.
already done the research, and this is what you got. So that is why you will be reporting in past tense. Let's say this was obtained after this was done. Then you now interpret. The interpretation is where you can be using the, how do you call it, present tense of it. This means that this. But the result that you have gotten, you had already done the work. So it is better to report it in past tense. Then the interpretation, which is the scientific aspect, which is not a past tense. It is still valid today, valid tomorrow, valid anytime. That is the one that you put it in the present tense, all right? But the findings that you get, you report them in what? Past tense. But you can find in some papers, all of them are reported like in the present tense.
Yes, for instance, let's say I have an image and I say, okay, from figure, let's say figure 3, it can be seen that so and so. Is that allowed? Or I still
Yes,
have to?
it is allowed. It depends, but you should be uniform. You should have a uniform way of communicating. You shouldn't be mixing the present tense and past tense when you are discussing results. Some of the results in past tense, some in present tense. You should be uniform. You can state, like you said, in figure this, it can be observed that this is there. So it means that all throughout your results, you'll be using that kind of language syntax. But if you are mixing them, that is where there will be a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Victor. People are asking whether the PPTs will be shared. Yes, we will share the PPTs. You remember I shared the other one to you this morning. So after the presentation, maybe tomorrow or even tonight, I will share the PPTs with you and even perhaps the recording. And then we will also share a link with you. You have to actually also give a feedback. It will be a Google form. You also tell us how the workshop went, whether you learned something, is there anything we need to improve? I mean, so that we can institutionalize it. This is what we will do. Yeah, so Victor, this is the last question, then we can close.
All right. Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. I would like to thank you for your clear and concise presentation. Yeah, so mine is not a question per se, but just to emphasize and then share experience regarding the paper being kept, manuscript being kept in the imprint mode. So I think about a month ago, a colleague of mine over here in China, also a PhD student, had submitted a manuscript to a particular journal. Then for what reason, he withdrew the manuscript and then submitted to another journal, then accepted to be kept in imprint mode. So as we speak, in fact, he's supposed to have graduated or to be graduating somewhere around June this year. But unfortunately, the paper is still there, embargo is on it, and the school is not accepting papers in imprint mode, even though it's a very good journal. So having heard your presentation and then the education on it, it's really informed me a lot about what we researchers can put ourselves into. So it's a good revelation, and then I think all colleagues here will take a cue from it, so we don't put ourselves into tight corners going forward. Thank you, Prof, once again.
All right. Thank you so much. So let me check whether my professors are here. If not, I will conclude. Please, is Professor Naveen Kumar here or Professor Prasun? All right. I think they are not here. So I would like to thank you all for joining this two-day workshop. It was insightful. We learned together. And I would also like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, and then the President of the University, SPSU, for the opportunity given to us to organize this particular workshop. I also appreciate the efforts of the Dean in charge of Research and Publications, Professor Prasun Chakrabarti. As I told you, he's a renowned scientist with 8 index of 46. He is a very great scientist. He's done a lot of things in AI related to medicine. So it's under his auspices this was organized, and in collaboration with my Dean of the Faculty of Integrated and Advanced Technology, Professor Dr. Naveen Kumar. I really appreciate your efforts. And all of you, the faculty members of SPSU, students of SPSU, distinguished international guests, all of you that joined from Ghana, a lot of countries. In total, about 322 people registered for this workshop. And this is impressive. By far, this is the largest workshop on research I have ever organized or featured as a resource person. And it clearly shows the love you have for research and how you cherish people that you follow. So thank you so much, especially my Ghanaians who joined. You are the ones that are topping the numbers. About 147 people joined from Ghana, followed by India. So you really did very well. So before we end, again, I would like to talk briefly about SPSU. Maybe you don't know about this university. It's called Sir Padampat Singhania University, and it is a private university. It's one of the best universities in India. You can browse about it, and it is owned by the largest cement manufacturing company in India called JK Cement. You can browse about it as well. They have branches in Dubai, about their companies. I'm talking about their company in Dubai and several other countries. They are into mining as well. So you can expect that this is an industry-based university, right? So it is within the natural reservoir or harbor or natural laboratory where all that you are learning can be practicalized. So that is why they do predominantly engineering programs and management-related programs. So for the engineering, we have mining engineering, and that is where I am. I'm doing research on mining geology and sustainable environment management. They have civil engineering, they have mechanical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, computer science and engineering. Then they have biotechnology. Then they also have management programs, management and commerce. They have an umbrella, MBA, then you major in finance, marketing, HR, IT, hospitality management, and business analytics. There is also a bachelor program on computer-aided design, and then a Bachelor of Computer Applications. So in fact, the AI things and the computer-related things they do here are top-notch. If you check on the website of the university, all these programs are done in partnership with noted industries like IBM, all right, ACA, and a whole lot of them, those computer-related industries. And students get placement even in the final year. I have seen it myself since I came. And so those of you who want to further your education for maybe at the master's level, we have Master of Technology in all the engineering programs. As I indicated, the fee is about $1,730 a year. And this covers your tuition, your accommodation, your feeding, and then your utility bills. You don't pay any other thing. $1,730, masters for 2 years. So you can imagine about $3,260 or something dollars, then you are able to get your master's, all right? And you also have industry placement or internship. It's compulsory for all our master's students to do internship before they graduate. So the company that owns the university sends you to either Dubai or within India, some of their companies, or you can get your own place to do your internship. We have PhD programs in all the major disciplines I've mentioned. The PhD too is about $2,000, and it also covers everything: tuition, accommodation, utility bills, feeding. Yes, feeding is part. All these, they feed you. You don't pay any other thing again. And with PhD self, you are given a role to play as a graduate assistant or teaching assistant. You are put under a professor to work, and then you are paid a stipend of about $240 every month. So some of our PhD students who have joined, they can give testimony to that. I came and met some Ghanaians who are here. I mean, Godwin Appiah, he joined, is one of the Ghanaian PhD scholars here, and he receives it, and he's doing his work well. So we also have master students from Ghana. We have Rahina too, who is a mining engineering. She's also doing very well. In fact, so if you are motivated to join, your doors are open. Our doors are open. You can all get in touch with me and I can help you. For the bachelor too, we have for all the programs I mentioned, bachelor degree will cost like $2,300 every year, and it covers everything as I indicated. And the campus, when you look at, those of you who follow me, you will see the campus that I shared on my status and other places. Is very, very nice. It is a well-class campus. Each classroom has smart board, all right, that we use to teach the students. And so that is it. So I think we can end it here, and then we will send you the Google form for the feedback. Please, I beg you, all of you who joined, try to give us the feedback to help us, keep doing this. So somebody asked, do you have scholarships for Ghanaian or African students? The scholarships are for everyone. What I have mentioned, the programs they give 50% scholarship. That is why the fees are like that. $1,730 a year for masters, $2,300 for a bachelor degree. It is because the fees have a scholarship. If you check on the university website, they give 50% scholarship to every student that is admitted. International student that is admitted gets 50% scholarship. And when you come and you perform well, your scholarship could be increased to 75% or even 100% based on your level of performance. So you can spread the message. Your friends who are interested, they should get in touch and let us get quality education for ourselves. All right, so thank you so much. You can open your microphones and greet people, and then we go. I appreciate all of you.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, Doc. I'm struggling with my registration now. Is there something that I can do?
The registration is over. We've ended the conference, the workshop, and you want to do registration.
I joined
I've
today.
shared this link several times. You have my number. Don't you check my status? I've shared it on Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. So most of the people who joined, they joined through that. Even
Thank you,
today,
Professor.
on my status. Yeah, Yusuf, from Turkey, eh?
Thank you. Yeah,
So
thank
people
you
have
for
joined from a
the
lot of
information.
countries, even from America, from Germany, from Turkey, from Liberia, from South Africa, from Ethiopia, a lot.
Yes,
I've seen the countries. I hope everything is fine.
Yeah. Thank you for all the information. It was very helpful and insightful.
All right.